Topicals make up a really small percentage of the overall cannabis sales, but they're associated with wellness and driving the unique industry trends compared to larger product categories. Topicals are also unlike other products in the sense that consumers rely on these for pain relief and medicinal. In a sense, everyone's using cannabis for medicinal purposes, whether to relax or otherwise, but topicals are, in a sense, perceived as more medical. So in order to help better understand what's kind of driving some of these demands in topicals, we're going to take a look at Headset's report, drill into some insights, and look at some market share, changes in pricing, various segments, demographic groups, and all of that coming up.
It's only entertainment.
Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast.
So let's look at market share between Canada and US for total sales. And we can see in Canada, topicals made up 1% of total sales. That's between January and August of this year. So that's also a 9% decrease, which isn't a lot. It's just a blip overall. In the US, same time frame, topicals are around 0.7%, so less than 1%. And there's also a minor reduction in sales over the year. This chart is a little interesting in the fact that there was a little blip at the beginning of the year. I guess right around Christmas, maybe it was a Christmas item. People are buying that for stocking stuffers, huge, relatively huge jump. And then it kind of comes back down. So either people tried one time, they didn't come back for, kind of like a very similar product that I was trying to launch with Asthmatic Inhaler unit. Was really neat because you could use that on an airplane, whereas like vaping, you can't. Problem is it got clogged using THCO acetate. It clogged it up. Wasn't the best anyways. Best process. But even regardless, you can't sell something like that for $120 for 100 milligrams and expect people to come back when it isn't. Remember like vape carts back in the day when they would always clog? Probably still are some out there that constantly clog if they use certain cutting agents or it's too thick. They don't use the right stuff. So anyways, what I'm saying is this over time looks to me like, people buy it once, didn't really work out, and they don't come back. Highest market share in North America is Albuquerque by a long shot, double that of Florida and Colorado as runners up. It varies province by province the same way that the US varies by states, but Alberta with the highest market share of topicals at 2.7%, 5 times the national average. Ontario and BC both have higher shares of the national average. And then it's lowered by Saskatchewan. There's very few people who live there. And so it's skewed by that. In the US, Florida has the highest total share, 1.3%, also the highest medical market in the country. Topicals are also high in Colorado. That's another very fit market. They also have an adult use established market as well. So when we look at average item price in topicals since 2021 in Canada, between up there in the US, prices on average in Canada are $31.25. In the US, they're $26.70. We did see prices kind of dip in Canada. Maybe we'll see some consolidation or a reason for that. And as players got out, then the people decided to bring that back up. I also noticed that the price increase, the start of the price increase coincides with the popularity in sales and the price as it apex, as it peaked. And so that's basically just a lagging indicator and a false measurement on the side of the retailers setting the prices. They're not looking at it peaking, and so they're late to being responsive on hiking the price. It's one of those two things. Again, either consolidation, not enough players in the market, you can raise the price, or just really late to the game on the popularity and then raising the prices after it's already peaked. But then when we look at the US, right, prices have remained relatively steady around $26 to $27. Not a lot has changed. Average item price is around $27.24. Kind of interesting to see the segment changes. Like bath salts, really popular in Canada. They've got about 20% of the market share for bath bombs, and it's less than 10% in the US. Transdermal products are really popular in Canada, not here. I really like them. Those should be a lot more popular, but I think the price, I haven't seen them actually in a lot of stores. So maybe it's a lack of availability and or too expensive. But there is also a patch down here, so maybe that's a different category altogether. Transdermal patches in the US popular, but not up in Canada. But the dominant sales make up 60% up in Canada for lotion, salves, gels, and creams, while in the US it makes up 75% of sales. 1-to-1 THC to CBD ratios are really popular. Highly suggest you try some of those out, even if you're not a fan of THC. Look up the Entourage Effect. This is kind of really good topical to try out. I actually kind of want to try it on my cat because my cat has this cyst and it's got pus and stuff. So I was thinking about, I've got this Band-Aid and I was going to trim down his hair and go through all of that rather than pay $1,800 for a surgery. I'm going to try that first on him, get him like a little jacket or whatever so he can't start licking it and get all super stoned. But yeah, regardless, pure CBD, 1-to-1, all good stuff. Looks like the biggest difference is consumers in the US prefer CBD products that have more THC. So the THC heavy product ratio contains 300 milligrams of THC or more is popular in the US, and it makes up a third of topical sales. That might also be because you like in Washington State, you have to have THC in a cannabis store. You can go to gas station, but then you have branding issues, reputability, trust, all of those things. So if you're going to get something in a store, it has to have THC. So I guess that's going to skew some of those numbers. If it's a THC regulated state, more than likely it's going to have THC in it, especially if it's coming out of Washington State. For products that do have THC and CBD at a 1-to-1 ratio, that's about a third of all sales in Canada. So pure CBD is a close second. That's about a third, also 30% versus 34% for the Entourage Effect. Looking at who's buying this stuff, age groups for topicals in the US, looking at sales attributed to each demographic group, we can kind of see what shouldn't be too big of a surprise. Female consumers in the older generations have an overwhelming preference for topicals. So they're generally the people who do the shopping anyways, and they're into bath and beauty, which makes sense why so many bath bombs are being purchased versus flower and things like the concentrator is going to be more towards men. So if you look at female consumers in the baby boomer age group, they account for 16% of all topical sales, but only 4.6% of the market. So in contrast, female consumers in Gen Z, they're only 3.6% of topical sales. Likely reason, if we were going to infer from the data, topical is probably that wellness product. So it's more appealing to older generations looking for a more holistic approach and also have the money for this. It's not cheap to go out there and get some of this stuff. Some of it works really, really well, but it is not cheap. So the more disposable income you have, the more you're going to try on some of these alternative products. We've done other reports like pre-rolls and beverages that have a higher market share. Flour is decreasing down to 40% of market share. And I think over time, topicals will increase as kind of those prices come down a little bit. I would just imagine it's going to be a general purchase like you would see normally. These things sell, but not at this high of a price, not yet. The accessibility is low, still a taboo. All of that will go away. Sales will increase. Eventually, you're just going to have to come back to the Talking Hedge and find out.
With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out.
Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.